Let's head into the Zoom room. A little bit of a scheduling mix-up. We got Senator Joanne Brown, Republican, on a Monday. Morning, Senator.
Hi, good morning, Chris and Bree. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So I'm guessing it's summer because you normally can't come on before 8:30 because you usually drop your boy at school.
That's true. Otherwise, I'd be on the road right now.
Right on. Well, good morning.
Yeah, I don't get those mornings to sleep in either way. You know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's the life we chose. Senator, I guess we'll just start because we didn't get to catch up with you. But so we'll start with this Chamorro Land Trust Commission stuff. You written a letter to the governor. I believe also the chair, and then the speaker had announced last week that she will be having an oversight hearing at a date to be determined coming up. Just your reaction on that, all that?
Well, I'm certainly pleased the speaker is moving forward to have a hearing on this issue. I mean, as you know, this whole situation has just raised more questions. And we have a history with the Chamorro Land Trust that has not been the best. I mean, in terms of how the Chamorro Land Trust properties have been used and in some case misused and abused. And moving forward, I think we need to ensure that, the trust is working in the interest of the people that are supposed to be recipients of the trust. So certainly the stepping down of Mr. Hattig does not, begin and end the whole process of concerns that were raised with regards to whether or not any documents had been changed from the original 8 land agent reports. And so I think that issue does need to be clarified. If it's just a single report and it was corrected, perhaps that may be one thing, but I doubt it. I think we need to inquire also of the land agents. Are there any other official reports that they've submitted that have since been altered? Because at the bottom of each of these reports, Chris, it indicates the initials of the land agent that prepared that report. So, I mean, certainly the director is able to add on what they want to recommend to the commission, but to represent a document that it's a work product of a land agent, and then that document may have been altered by the director, and yet still representing that document as if it's simply the report of the land agent. I think that's a misrepresentation. I mean, that's essentially falsifying a document, fraudulently falsifying a document, and misrepresenting that report. So I think those questions need to be asked and answered so that we're aware that are there any other reports other than the one, of course, from that February 18th meeting that, that land agent brought to light, that the director had changed her report and that she did not support that and didn't agree because she believed that the recommendation was actually a recommendation against what was allowed by law. So definitely looking forward to when the speaker does schedule a hearing on that issue.
What about, the AG was on the program last week, Friday, and Chris was asking him about the whole Chamorro Land Trust Commission request from the speaker to do this investigation into the forgery and all of that. And then he kept pointing out the fact that, well, we have an assistant AG that's assigned over there at the Chamorro Land Trust Commission. So, kind of just listening to that, I wasn't sure whether or not, well, because you have an assistant AG on the board, that you might not find anything was the foul.
Well, I don't think that resolves an issue. I mean, my experience, with legal counsels is normally they'll respond to legal questions when they're asked of it. Do I believe the legal counsel that's assigned to the Land Trust Commission is investigating or reviewing these issues? I have no idea. Had that been the case, then I doubt you would have had a land agent bring to light the issue that her document and her position on an applicant had been altered and changed, by the director. So I don't hear anything coming up with that. I don't think simply having an assistant AG assigned to the Land Trust Commission is going to address or resolve these issues in and of themselves. Right. It doesn't bring to light. Otherwise, why don't we have a report come forth that there are no other applications or documents that have been changed or altered by the director? I'd certainly love to hear that that's the case, but I don't know factually if that's the case. So, having the assistant AG sitting as a member of the board there, I don't know what they're doing other than, being at the board and advising as legal questions come up. That's for them to publicly announce what they're doing at the Land Trust Commission. But I don't think that in and of itself says everything's all good and all clear because they simply have an assistant AG assigned to the commission. In most cases, normally, my experience, as I mentioned, they're normally responding to legal questions that they're asked. So I don't know. I mean, the chairman has never come forth really with what happened in their executive session here with regards to this issue. I mean, initially, the chairman was coming off that, they've reviewed it, they're correcting it, and it's all good. And then, the next thing we know, a couple of weeks later, they have another meeting and ask, the director Hattig a question. And the next thing you know, they're claiming he's unqualified for the position. So what has happened, what happened in between and behind that executive meeting that was not made public, we don't know.
There was also a meeting with the governor and the chair in between all that.
I'm sorry, can you repeat
There
yourself?
was also a meeting with the governor and the chairman of the Land Trust Commission in between.
Yes, that's right.
All
That was publicly announced that they were meeting and the meeting supposedly happened. I mean, we don't know because we're not privy to what those discussions were. And all we know is, Mr. Hattig's, quickly resigned and, they announced that he's going to be at the governor's office. So that's publicly that as much as most people out there know. But again, that doesn't address the issue. Just simply having him not there doesn't address the concerns that were raised by this land agent. And is this an isolated case? I mean, hopefully it is, but we don't know that. And then, the commission itself has not been forthcoming with regards to these issues. So I think we need to address it. I mean, it's unfortunate. The whole intent behind why the land trust was created to help facilitate these lands to eligible recipients and ensure that it's done fairly and properly and in the proper order that these applicants, came forth since goodness the mid-90s to apply for these properties. And, we've seen over the years how other people have jumped ahead of the line. We've seen how people, conveniently are able to get land trust properties adjacent to their own private land and expand their boundaries. I mean, we've seen abuse over the years, and I think we're reaching a point of level of tolerance that this is just not how the land trust should be operating. And it's not properly operating. So I think these issues need to be addressed. If there's nothing that comes to light and everything's all good, then wonderful. But those questions have not been answered.
Right. You're right. I mean, here we are. We wouldn't even be in this position if all they would have done was just hold an open meeting, explain what happened. But now, the people that are suffering are the people that have been waiting since the 1990s for a lease, and it's just ridiculous. I just don't get it.
And it's just the fact that there's just been in the past, misuse of the land trust, and you continue to hear those stories, and people that even get the property question, are they eligible? Did they get it in the proper sequence? Are they using the property for what it's intended for? All of those things need to be addressed. And certainly for a period of time when I was up at the University of Guam, we did have a formal agreement with the Chamorro Land Trust to assist them in reviewing their agricultural leases. That was the first time since the land trust was created that any type of review or actual field inspection was conducted with regards to these agricultural properties. And so I had an opportunity to look at a number of those applications, as well as we initially were starting to help them review their commercial applications and the lack of compliance. So I do have some firsthand experience directly working with the university in a formal agreement with the Chamorro Land Trust to review those issues. And it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate what has happened, but moving forward, we need to address these issues and clean them up. I think we have an expectation that should happen. And the land trust should be removed from these allegations and issues of corruption. That just should not be the case. And we know where we should be. I mean, we might even have to formally legislate this process because we've seen so much deviation happening that maybe that's something we need to look at. But we definitely need to get this issue cleared to find out if there are any other official agent reports that may have been changed or altered. And I think the only way we're going to even know that is to actually, inquire that of the land agents. Because I did send a formal letter to the chairman inquiring and requesting specifically the original land agent reports and also the copy of the reports that were provided to the commission. He did respond to me a couple of weeks ago stating that there's only one set of land agent reports, and just logically that doesn't make sense to me. So I think we need to get to the bottom of this issue.
By any chance, do you know who this new CLTC or acting administrator is? This Angela Camacho? What sort of experience?
No, I don't know who they've since appointed in an acting capacity.
Mm-hmm.
It's Angela Camacho.
Yeah, it's Angela Camacho.
Yeah,
I didn't know if you knew. Coming from Guam Housing, I think, right? There was a detail assignment.
I just hope whoever they put there is capable and competent and responsible in how they execute their duties as the head of the land trust.
Right.
So we'll see. I hope as time goes on, we can find out her credentials and how we're going to ensure and the public can ensure and the recipients of land trust can ensure that all the public officials that are working at the land trust are properly executing their duties.
Senator, just before we let you go, because we got the mayors coming on, what is the remedy, though?
Sure.
Because I think that we're kind of losing track of, or at least it seems like we're losing track of this whole going into executive session to discuss Jack Hattig, right? There's no remedy. Like, that was supposed to be something that was discussed openly and publicly. It wasn't. We can't get any of the information from these executive sessions. And to me, it's like they got away with it. They successfully shielded from public view all these issues that, I mean, even the speaker had come on before and said that it shouldn't have been an executive session.
I totally agree. I think the more they try to, shroud darkness around this issue, the more questions and speculation it brings out there. And I think that's where we need to bring the light in and, formally through a formal hearing, an oversight hearing, bring these issues to the table and start asking these questions and getting answers, not just so much for ourselves in our respective capacities, but for the public. And again, the recipients of the land trust that want to see, and especially many, I still, in the short time I've been back in office, I get inquiries on a regular basis from people that are land trust recipients, either because they can't get basic utilities or they've been waiting all these years to get a designated lot with a lot number that they can actually stand on, to formally say, okay, I've been assigned this property because of issues being able to get a proper lot assigned to them. So these concerns are ongoing and they should be addressed where we openly have an answer. I mean, Mr. Hattig was in an appointed unclassified position. We're not going through a formal civil service review of this. There was no need to have, said, oh, it's an executive, it's a personnel matter, which is what they said, right? It's a personnel matter. And that's the reason why they were justifying going into an executive session that was closed doors. So those type of actions, again, where these type of allegations have come up, just, certainly bring a big question mark in my mind. I'm sure they do for other people that are listening to this issue and are just as concerned, even if they're not recipients of the land trust, just because we have an expectation publicly that these things should be done appropriately and public resources should not be used and abused.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, we'll keep in touch. Thanks so much. You guys have a good week.
You too.
You too.
All right. Senator Joanne Brown, Republican, 737.